Too late.
You have an announcement. So what I'd like to do before we get started is just like do a quick announcement. If there's anything that like anybody wants to present, great. If you have a startup or anything you do like 1 minute pitch, we can do that after the fireside chat. But right now, Randy, I think you wanted to say something about purchasing Bitcoin.
Just a couple things. How's everybody doing tonight? Good? Hey. So I'm Randy. I started a group called Garden State Crypto with Emilio, who helped just do the AV, and our other partner's not here. We used to do the big meetups here. We're here to support Crypto Mondays. Bruce Porter is one of our partners. He came up from Washington, D.C. for an awesome group of people. And yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, if anybody wants silver or gold for Bitcoin, we're doing something. We have signups. It's actually a multi-level kind of marketing, but not really situation. But you can actually, you know, use your Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin to get gold and silver bars. I also got a couple pieces of silver if anybody wants it, and I have some coins if anybody wants some, or anybody wants more information about what we're doing. We're also doing a party in New York City next Tuesday. If anybody wants to go, it's gonna be in the music studio. Our Cypher Punk band, the Coinheads, is gonna be doing a music video. If anybody wants to be in a music video, it's record breaking. We're the first crypto meme rock and roll band ever. And that's coming up on Tuesday. See me after the thing if anybody's got questions. Funkadelic Music Studio. It's right there by Port Authority. It's 40th Street, 1 block from Port Authority. Awesome.
Going live.
Right. Music videos. Love it.
Big Randy.
Awesome.
Randy.
All right. So, yeah, Randy, thank you. Thanks to Emilio for doing all the AV stuff, getting this all set up. Without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Brian, who's with Elementus, who's going to be monitoring this fireside chat, and of course, guest Bruce Porter Jr. We thought, you know, Brian would be a great one to lead the chat here because of the business he's in, which is around analytics and market. I'll let each of them kind of introduce what they're doing, but again, without further ado, here's your fireside chat.
Woo! Yeah.
Woo!
Hey, how's everyone doing?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. First of all, just to kick this off, you know, honored to be here and honored to be talking with Bruce and meeting all of you guys. It was amazing for me to see just like how many like people here didn't put up their hands when they were asked if it was their first, or when they were asked if it was their first Crypto Monday. So thanks everyone for coming out. And, you know, just happy to be over here, and you know, next time come back, like bring another friend. We'll pull more people in. So you know, Bruce, let's get it. Bruce, you seem like a colorful guy. So let's get into it. Maybe to start off, you could just talk. You've been into the Bitcoin and crypto space for a long time. Just like tell us you know, how you got in and what got you in for just the people who don't know you.
Yeah, absolutely. So a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, my brother said, "Hey Bruce, you gotta check out these Bitcoins. This is really cool." And I looked, and Bitcoin was like 50 cents, and I was like, "Oh, that looks pretty cool, you know." And next time I looked, it was $50. And I was like, "Holy smokes, man, that's pretty cool." And it took me a little bit of time then to figure out how to get them, because it's always hard to get them. Now it's really hard to get them because they're so darn expensive. But it was always really hard to get them. And because you had to mine them, or I said, "How do you get them?" I asked my brother. So we got to mine them, buy them, figured out how to buy them. About $70, bought my first Bitcoin. It has been a heck of a ride since then. None of us, if anybody ever told you that they thought the Bitcoin was going to go to $69,000 or where it's trading right now, they're lying. They're lying, okay? No one thought it was going to happen. But along the way, you know, what really started to happen was that I realized how powerful this tool was that we had. And that we have a situation in the world right now where we don't have much control over anything. We can't own anything. If you don't pay your taxes, they take your house. If you don't, you can't, like, they can seize your bank account. They can take everything. They can take everything from you. We can't own anything. And here was this something that came along and I could own it. No one had to know I had it. My wife's like, "How many Bitcoins do you have?" Bitcoins? What do you mean? "I hear you talking about the Bitcoin. How many Bitcoins do you have?" So there it is, right? And they can't take it by court order. They can't seize it. They can't do all these things. And so that started really the whole process of understanding that we were in a monetary revolution. And Nick Spanos, who knows Nick Spanos?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Nick Spanos is a legend, right? So I've been going around the world talking about the monetary revolution forever. And someone said, well, Nick Spanos coined the phrase, so I probably heard it from him. But anyway, started way back then. I have spoken around the world, started this Global Boost company a long time ago. We forked Bitcoin. It is the same thing, basically, but you can mine it with a CPU. It's not feasible. It's not seizable. I walked away from the company a number of times. It still is going. It's a decentralized currency. But really, as much as these and crypto monies, hats off to crypto monies and the guys who put this together, of course, my man Randy and the other people involved here, it's so important. We've been meeting on Monday for over a decade, guys. We've been meeting on Monday. And whether everybody is kind of in tune to it, and of course, I'm sure we got some feds in here and everybody too, because they always are here. But whether everybody's in tune or not, it's where we trade ideas. And it's so important. It's so important. This is what it's all about. And that's why in COVID, they didn't want us meeting, right? You couldn't meet. No, you couldn't meet, right? They don't want you sharing ideas and talking about what's going on.
So, talk me through, we've got some, new to Bitcoin and, presumably, maybe some new to, crypto people here. Talk me through that process, because, you're looking at it 50 cents, it goes to $50. Look at it, because, everyone's got this. I have a similar story. I looked at it at, $700. It goes to, 15. I'm like, oh, I'm late. Talk me through, and then everyone thinks they're late. So, talk me through your process of just getting in, and learning about the technology and kind of what that journey was like.
Who's gonna sell me Bitcoin for PayPal? Who's gonna sell me Bitcoin for PayPal? Right? I mean, I was like, come on, And finally, I found this guy. He was there in DC. I'm a DC guy, Washingtonian for a long time, and he was mining Dogecoin, Dogecoin. I still call it the Dogecoin, right? And I got him to sell me. He told me years later. He was like, Doc, on it, Bruce, I sold you so many Bitcoins for nothing. I should have kept those Bitcoins, but it's all part of the game. But that was really it. I never any exchanges or anything like that. I mean, the exchanges were like the deep, dark place. You don't want to go there. That's where the ETFs. Now we have ETFs. Of course, it's going to pump it to infinity. Go buy your Bitcoin. Here's some more paper. You don't have enough paper money. Here's some paper Bitcoin.
So let's go to the ETFs, because what we could, it's interesting. In the lead up to the launch of the ETFs, what we could see on the blockchain was there was on the blockchain, and if you just look at the narratives, there were a couple of narratives, and one narrative was okay, there's going to be this huge supply crunch. And there's not going to be enough Bitcoin. All these BlackRock, Fidelity, all these guys are going to come and buy the Bitcoin. And then we could see the OTC desks and kind of your traditional players loading up on the Bitcoin to sell the Bitcoin. But how do you think of Bitcoin and in the construct of okay, now you have this this tool to get Bitcoin to the masses and the people that aren't necessarily going to do the work that you did and some of us did to understand it, versus the trade-off, you say, of okay, then having paper Bitcoin.
I mean, the truth is that I always said, and I'll still say it today, I mean, I've been in crypto for over a decade, and my wife will still never send a bunch of bits to some long address. I mean, it's just, you know what I mean? So in that respect, it's very good. We're taking an asset, we're putting it into people's retirements, we're bringing in a lot of people. It's just, for where we are in the history of the world, and it's really the history of the world. It's not just the U.S., it's not just Canada. It's everywhere. I mean, there's central banks in almost every country. Russia doesn't have a central bank. Syria doesn't have a central bank. Gaddafi tried not to have a central bank, so it's great that they're able to participate and get some, and it's going to help all of us. But you need Bitcoin. You need your Bitcoin. You need to have them stored. You need to remember your seed phrase. And if anything ever happens to you, you know that you have those Bitcoins. And that's the deal, because that's what it's all about. Paper money will go to zero. Absolutely 100%. I can tell you, I don't know if it's next week. I don't know if it'll be in 10 years. I don't know if it'll be 50 years. I've been saying for over 10 years it's going to zero for a long time. So I don't know. But sooner or later, it will go to zero. And they're gonna dig up these paper bills sometime later, 100 or 200 years from now, and it's gonna be worthless. It won't be like the silver coins they find. Silver coins are worth something. Why? Because they're silver or they're gold or whatever they are. There's some value, and so you need them. You need gold. You need silver. You need crypto. And you need some cash.
I wanted to ask you about that because I'm a Canadian transplant, and so therefore I have a lot of.
Yeah.
I know we got another one here. I have a lot of like physical metals, and I always have to distinguish now between like crypto mining and like dig stuff out of the ground mining. So I have a lot of like mining friends, and my mining friends like tend to not like crypto and Bitcoin. So like being a crypto guy plus a like a metals guy, like how do you talk to your gold bug friends and get them involved in crypto?
Well, I do my show every morning. I'm getting actually a message here right now from my TV guy. Let me drop him off here. Hold on, Fly. I'm dropping you off. I thought you could choose, Fly, which stream you could take me off of. Hold on a second here. Sorry. Hold on. Yeah.
It's the Bruce Porter Show.
Remove.
Live and direct.
Remove.
All right.
All right, Fly.
All right. Is it on?
Yes. I never interrupted anything.
Okay.
We're professionals.
Yeah.
We do need a battery pack, though. Does someone have a battery pack? Someone has a battery pack. I think Amelia's getting one. Anyway. All right. So. No, Fly. All right. He'll figure it out. He told us to get off. He's like, go ahead and stay on. Anyway, what was the question again?
So I promised not to swear. So
I know. I told him. We won't swear. We promise. But now we're not screaming on there anymore.
All right. So how do you talk to your mining and metal friends who like gold and silver but hate Bitcoin?
Well, I tell them, look, guys, my Bitcoin's gone like 1,000x. I mean, come on. Like, let's have a real conversation here. You want gold, and right now, the other thing about the ETF that I didn't mention is what is happening now is you have a lot of the coins that are concentrated in a certain amount of people. And anytime you have something like that, that means that they can do pretty much whatever they want to with the price. Because the retail guys don't have, they have the money to do it, but it's just like, the sheep, the dog, he rules the sheep by scaring them. So the big guys scare everybody else. So everybody has enough money to support it, but retail won't support it. And so if the big guys decide now they want the price to go down, the price will go down. So anyway, but back to your question. So the gold, and then talking to them about crypto. I mean, back in the day, I'm in Washington. I'm a government contractor for a long time. Look, guys, I was right. It was actually a really interesting moment when Bitcoin went to 20,000. Because a lot of people they always thought, whatever. But you couldn't do that anymore. Like, I was right. And I never rubbed it in anybody's face or anything like that, but I was right. You know what I mean? Yeah, I probably wasn't right about a bunch of other things, but I was right about that. And so gold and silver and precious metals, palladium, you need those. But you can't travel with $250,000 of them. You know what I mean? That's hard. And we actually, I know Randy mentioned it, but at Cost Metals, if you go to atcostmetals.club, that forwards you to our referral link, and I'll make sure that if anybody joins, we'll put them in Randy, but and you can buy gold and silver and everything at cost. And it's an important part of the monetary revolution. Because what we have, guys, you look around the world, Canada is the same. Guys, we have a situation in this world where we don't have control anymore. Whoever we elect, whoever we put in Congress, whatever meetings we have. I remember back when Trump was running, they were giving away ICANN. ICANN is the root naming system of the internet. And I found out, and I go, oh my God, this is crazy. There's not a First Amendment anywhere else in the world. How in the world can we give away ICANN? And I went on this crusade, and I talked to everybody. And we had a deal. I was working with the Trump campaign, and we had a deal with Mitch McConnell, and Mitch wasn't going to do it. And then at the last minute, he did it, and he gave it away. And we don't have control. We don't have control over these people. They're not scared of not getting elected. They're not scared of us. Not that they should be scared of us, but they should be at least be accountable to us. And the main reason is because the central bank can print them whatever money that they want. Biden right now is bombing all kinds of people, whether you like Biden or not. I'm not up here to say I like him or not like him, but he's bombing all kinds of people, and you're supposed to like go to Congress, right? And the reason you have to go to Congress, the biggest reason you have to go to Congress, is because we have to pay for the bonds. So if we're paying for the bonds, then we elect Congress, and Congress is supposed to then represent us. But we don't have to do that anymore because the central bank gives them the money. All they do is print the money, and then they steal it from us, and we fill it with inflation. And so whether you use gold, silver, different precious metals, crypto is highly speculative. I'm not a financial advisor, I have to say that, right? Highly speculative. It can go up and it can go down, all right? If you want the safe thing, it's metals. But you need both, guys. You need both. Because you don't need to just be safe. You need to get wealthy. How in the world are you ever going to compare it to people? How in the world are you ever going to have a say in what happens forward? Because this, I don't know when, but this thing is going to go up in flames.
So we're heading into like an election year, and you being like a DC guy, you've got some like perspective on this. It seems like the current Biden administration is kind of highly aligned with sort of like the Elizabeth Warren camp of the Democratic Party who haven't been friends of crypto. But like anything can happen as we know. During an election year and during the outcome of the election. So like how do you sort of think about like what because it also looks like it's going to be Trump and Biden again. So how do you think about like that from the perspective of like the presidency and then like going down a level, like a lot of congressional seats are up for grabs as well. You have a mixed bag there.
It is a mixed bag. So we have. I think I said I was actually. You guys know Bitcoin Ben?
Yeah.
Give him a shout out, Bitcoin Ben, right? One of the favorites. So Bitcoin Ben invited me down to Sarasota for one of his conferences, meetings, or whatever. He was really funny. I get up there. I was like, "What time am I speaking?" Oh, you'll speak later. Okay. How long do I have? He goes, "I don't know. Maybe like an hour." It's like an hour. It's like, all right, sure. Okay. I just lied. But it was like the first time someone had just like thrown me on stage and been like, all right, dude, there you go, an hour. And then of course Nick followed me up, Nick Spanos, and he like killed it. He was like telling jokes and like he was way more entertaining than me. I was like taking notes. But anyway, I said then, and I do believe it. I think that pretty much the powers that be have decided that Trump will be the president, whether you like it or not. And I think that obviously he'll be the nominee, and then I think that they've decided that it'll be too much of a problem if he's not, and they've just moved on to making sure that he can't do all the things that he wants to do, or all the things that some people want to do. Because let's face it, who knows what he wants to do. I mean, the guy, I didn't like any of his picks. I mean, besides my friend who I mentioned, and some of the other people, and they all got fired. They fired him, and then the new people I never liked. But anyhow, the thing is that we have a situation, and even there, so we have a two-party system. I mean, look at Kennedy. He's interesting. Look at Vivek. He's interesting, right? But it's the illusion of choice. You can have, Coke, or you can have Diet Coke. Whether you like, what I mean? And I'm a Trump guy. I've always been a Trump guy. But, I mean, put me up there, man. Stuff will get done, all right? Well, you're like Elon Musk. You're all fired. You're fired. You're fired, too. Trump's supposed to fire everybody. Why did he fire? He didn't fire anybody. Fire 90% like Elon did, and you'll start to see some stuff happen.
So one thing I was like intrigued by like Vivek's candidacy was like Vivek was the first, kind of like openly and like unabashedly like pro crypto guy that was running, and I thought it was interesting after he dropped out. Then Trump started talking about like CBDCs, and we won't like have a CBDC, and so I think like. Maybe Vivek had some like influence there, but like assuming Trump is like elected as the president, like what do you you think that realistically means anything for crypto, or you think it'll just be like another cycle of obstruction?
I mean, I think that as we saw, I don't think he's going to fire 90-something% of the people. That's what you need to do. The administrative state runs everything, along with, of course, the central bank. But the administrative state, I was friends with the late John McAfee. We were good friends, and that was one of the things that one of the interviews I got to sit down with him, and he talked about it on other videos as well. But the deep state, or the administrative state, however you want to call it, it's those people that work for the government that you don't elect, and they basically can't be fired. And those are the people who really run everything. And so, no, I don't think he'll be able to do that much. I mean, obviously, I'm going to support him. Hopefully, we can. The CBDC, though, is kind of like the boogeyman. 90% of the U.S. dollar right now is already digital. So that means it's digital. They can freeze it. They can seize it. If it's in your bank, they can take it. If you want to use a MasterCard, you can't use it. 90% of the U.S. dollar is already digital. So we're going to have another layer, I guess, on this. We're going to call it a CBDC, but it's basically going to be the same thing. It's a bit of the boogeyman, and I think stops the masses from going out there and buying assets that they can control, and that's why they do it, because you have a lot of the base. I'm sure some of them are watching right now. I have a lot of people on my feed who are like, oh, no, crypto's bad, no, they can't do that. CBDC, mark of the beast, all this stuff. It's like, no, guys, you don't understand. This is how we take the power back. This is how we take the power back from the central banks. Put your dollars that you can afford to miss and put them in other assets. You don't need to have a run on the bank. Let's put them in assets that they can't inflate. Because trust me, they are gonna keep inflating. They're gonna print and print and print and print and print, because there's nothing else that they can do at this point. That's all they can do at this point, is print more money.
I want to ask one last question, then I'll open it up for questions. But what are you most looking forward to this year, over the next 24 months, or what are you most excited about?
Wow, that's a good one. I want to go back to Monaco and rent another yacht. That was really fun. Yeah. For the Grand Prix. That's really what. If I had to say one thing, that's it right there. That was the crown. That was awesome. It cost a lot. But I think that I
wasn't that, so I was expecting that.
In general, I think that we need to work together. We need to be accepting of each other and recognize where we are in the history of the world. And none of us really want to bomb each other. None of us really want to be killing each other. And these wars that we're fighting, and I say we're, I have to stop saying we're. These wars that they're fighting with our money, it's unacceptable. We got to stop it, guys. We have to stop it. And I've been to over 30 countries. My brother, I'll give him a shout out, David Porter. Also follow my Twitter at Networks Manager at X. He's Sir David Porter. Been around the world, and I can tell you, coming from where I came from as well, I had some predispositions over the years. But anywhere you go around the world, people want the same things. They want safety and prosperity. They want a family, and they want their future generations to have the same. And those three things, doesn't matter. You can go to the middle of Vietnam, or the Middle East, or Latin America, or the Caribbean, or wherever, Russia. Everybody wants that. That's what we want as human beings. And if we focus on that, then we can move forward. And it's really up to us. It's up to us that are listening, that are able, power back. Because what we have going on right now is really bad. Really bad. I mean, we are starting World War III. We're starting World War III. And it's crazy. And we have to stop. And real quick, on that note, in 1913, the Federal Reserve began. Same year they started the IRS. And the year later was World War I.
Yep.
We have basically been fighting wars for the central bank ever since. A lot of other stuff I could go into in that, but that's the culprit. So we have to take the power back. That's what the monetary revolution is all about. That's why I get on TV every morning in Texas and Louisiana, 6 a.m. and Eastern Standard at 5 a.m. for them, and 11 a.m. and 12 noon Eastern Standard. And we stream on my Twitter or X and YouTube. Crypto Cake, shout out to them. 1.7 million followers there for us as well. And that's what we talk about every day because it's that important. It's that important. And we got to work together and be accepting of each other.
Super interesting perspective. Thanks for sharing it. Questions from anyone? I have a question.
Since the institutions can control.
Go ahead, because I want my stream to be able to hear.
I'll pass this mic. You can share that one.
Okay.
Since the institutions can control the price of Bitcoin now, like, what is your prediction for how it's going to go?
Well, to the moon, of course. It's always my prediction. It's funny because, of course, I'll trade a bit, and it's hard sometimes because I'm an eternal optimist, right? I always think it's going to the moon. I think that it's going to go up. There's not enough Bitcoins to go around, but people need to be careful because they're going to move it as they see fit. And as you saw, once they announced the ETF, well, what did they do? Grayscale and the rest of them, they bought. Grayscale was actually even selling their shares at 40% discount, if you remember, before. So people, by the time it launched and at 48,000, of course, there was so much profit. You take the profit, you take the money from everybody else. And I mean, I could go on and on and on. It's also another way that they remove money from circulation is through this the same way. So if the central bank trades, and if you have a commodity like Bitcoin, $50,000, you crash that, you buy it all back. You're the central bank, okay, or an ETF operating this way or whatever, but the central bank, and you buy it all back. All that money in between is basically gone. It's poof, done. And it's hard. It's some people to kind of like, but if you think about it, it'll make sense to you. And if they wonder, well, wait, where is that money? Are you sure that money is gone? Ask the traders.
First of all, thank you. Love the enthusiasm and massive, obviously excited about crypto and where it's heading. I'm more, I guess, thinking about now that the ETF is launched and we have the opportunity to educate folks that, first of all, maybe don't know anything about Bitcoin or maybe they have no care for it. How, apart from what you mentioned about self-sovereignty, about central bank, printing and debasing of currencies, what do you think is the best way? How do we educate the average person about this as an opportunity as part of an investment portfolio to be part of something exciting like this? Like what resonates the most from your experience talking to the average person out there? Like how do you find success in trying to convey that message and for people to have that aha moment? Like if you could share with us.
Yeah, sure. Great question. The biggest thing for me, I know I've been saying it quite a bit up here, but it is that everybody understands that they go to the grocery store right now and everything's double. And then the Fed, of course, they say, okay, we want a 2% inflation. Okay, and then if you start to unpack that a little bit, like why is the 2% inflation rate a target? Why is that? Why do we have inflation? And they teach you at all our schools too. I mean, they taught me too. Inflation was natural. Inflation was good. This is the way it works. The reason why they have a target 2% inflation rate is because they think that's what they can get away with without you guys pulling another Boston Tea Party. Okay, and that's what it is. And so when it starts to go out of control, like now, I mean, the package, of course, that they approved was like $1 trillion. I mean, last year they took in about $950 billion in income tax. And I mean, we're just printing out of control. So that is the thing that resonates the most with the people that I speak to, is that your money is being inflated so much. And actually, I started using diluted, because inflated is kind of one of those words you hear your whole life. You're like, oh, inflated. It's almost like a positive word. Diluted, though. Your money is being diluted. I explained it to my 13-year-old daughter. And I was like, well, think about it. If I have a $100 bill, and nobody else in the neighborhood has a $100 bill, and the kid wants to come down and mow the lawn, well, I can tell him, hey, man, I have this $100 bill. I'll give you, $5. Maybe I'll give you $2 to mow the lawn. Nobody else has a $100 bill. Hey, shoot, man, sounds pretty good. I'll take that. Now, if the central authority, the government, or whoever you want to call it, the Fed, gives a $100 bill to every single person in the neighborhood, and every house has a $100 bill. That kid comes over to me and he says, "Hey man, I want to mow the lawn," and I say, "Hey, it's $2." He goes, "Well, hey man, you know, guy right over there, he says, give me 5 or 20 or whatever." And so I just got diluted. My $100 just got diluted by like however many houses are in the neighborhood. And so stuff like that is really that's. And then the other thing is, then they say, well, they can change it, they can do this and that and the other. And here's the truth about it. You look at the Bitcoin code right now as it exists. I know because I started one a long time ago, and like it's not easy. Number one, and number two, sometimes it's like Y2K. You're like, well, what's going to happen when this? Well, we don't know what's going to happen. Then you get to that point, and okay, well, that's what happens. Okay, so I have experience as well. But if Bitcoin decides to do more than 21 million Bitcoin, it will be something else. It won't be Bitcoin. It'll be BSV, or it'll be BCH, or it'll be something else. Because when they change that code, that will be a fork of the original code. And that old code is still going to exist. It's still going to last. People are still going to mine it. They're still going to hold it. And they're still going to use it. And so that I use as well, explaining to people so they understand that.
Awesome. I will. Does anybody have any other questions? Otherwise, I have one. Here we go.
Hi, John Bruce. Thank you. Thank you for tonight's impressive discussion about the government and the institution. I just want one question about centralized and decentralized idea. So, so the decentralized idea is like the foundation of our Web3 community and Bitcoin blockchain. But what I can see is like when our Web3 population gets bigger and bigger, what people will first encounter is like Coinbase, OpenSea, something like that. Won't that be a like trend of centralized cash flow, community power, something like that? Is that how it could be decentralized? That's a complex idea.
I think I understand the question. You're asking all these great places for people to purchase crypto and use it and everything else are centralized, and how does that play into it? It makes it centralized, and that's absolutely, that's what I warn people all about. You know, look, guys. I mean, I had a friend. I mean, he doesn't talk to me anymore. But when Solana was $11, I was like, "No, man, don't do it." It's like Solana, like, that's the evil empire. Don't buy that. Don't buy it. At like 60, he was like, called me. He was like, "You know, Bruce." So trade them, use them, but understand what they are. And you know, a part of it is it's not an untrue statement. And you see a lot of the degens, and they'll say, "Hey, you know, they're just pumping that coin to get your Bitcoin." And there is truth to that. There is truth to that. Pumping those coins to get your Bitcoin. But if you're using cash, then there's Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And, so anyway, just keep that in mind. I think that they're, you know, Coinbase is, you know, Nick Spanos told me way back when, Bruce, don't use Coinbase, so I always stay away from Coinbase. But you know, if you're in that space and you need to be introduced to it, I think it's great. It's just there's two things going on. You have the decentralized monetary revolution, and then you have, of course, this centralized part of it, which we should all profit off of. It would be dumb not to.
Awesome.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, one more question. We just hit 43 and some change Bitcoin. Not financial advice. Where does it go from here? And what's your target and when? What's your target for a new all-time high and overall?
So if you guys on my manager, we do a show every morning, like I mentioned. It's on TV, but you guys aren't in Texas and Louisiana. 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 12 noon, and we talk about it all the time. The 6 a.m. show, I have my good friend Matt Dixon on, following to MD Trade. Really, like, he's an older guy. He's like been trading his whole life. Like, I made tons of money with this guy. I did. He's like one of those guys, you know. He's with Eve.io is a platform, wonderful AI platform. Him and I both feel like there's going to be a pullback from this point. You know, the thing is as well that it's about the money. And if everybody's long, then they want to liquidate the longs. So the exchanges you have, like, there's two schools of thought, and I think they're both true. One is that the exchange wants everyone to make money because there's more trading fees. And that, there's truth to that. But the other thing is, if everybody just goes long and this thing goes to infinity, they can't afford to pay everybody out. They have to liquidate the people in order to have the money to pay these ridiculous things. I mean, ridiculous relative term. But if I go 200x on Bitcoin, all right, I go 200 max leverage, and I make, whatever I make off of that, that money has to come from somewhere. So we're both expecting a bit of a pullback now. Crypto, Bitcoin has always been an asset that you could not predict. So, that being said, Michael Saylor, even up to 69,000, that was mostly Solana, we know now, and FTX pumping that. That was why it went so high at the time. But now Michael Saylor used to throw parties for Michael Saylor. Michael, before he was ever in Bitcoin. That guy got all the billionaires in. They're all in now. So I think it goes up, but I think it would be a healthy pullback to fill in the gap a little bit down to at least 38,
New all-time high this year?
Of course.
Can I ask a follow-on question?
Yeah.
New all-time high this year. And you got one, John?
What's your sell price?
Oh,
What's
mine?
the price in which you hit?
How many you want? How many you want? I got you right here. How many you want?
Bitcoin for me.
Prices.
Yeah, Bitcoin for me is one of those assets that I try never to sell. It's one of those things. I play with the other stuff, but that's the stuff that's gonna be around. That's the goal right there. I do think all-time high probably this year. I think what are we doing? 100 push-ups. You guys hear about this? 100 push-ups every day to 100K. You guys in? I'm in. 100 push-ups every day until we hit 100K.
Let's do it.
That's the deal. Go ahead.
So our head of research, Alex Molokoko, as he says a lot of O's, he's like never wrong. It's just like unbelievable. He thinks, just high level, he thinks we're going into another like halving cycle that's typically precipitated a price move up in Bitcoin. Again, this is not financial advice for entertainment purposes only. Every disclaimer applies. His target on it for this cycle is like 120 to 130. That's how high he thinks it gets.
Yeah, sure. And I think as well, one of the things that everybody messed up every time, and it's like I almost got pulled into it on this run. But normally, you have a run up on the price, and then it comes down as we go into the halving. It's like it makes everybody, it's a fake out. So you have the big hype because price goes up, and then it comes down before the halving, and then the big pump happens after the halving. But we have the ETFs, we have all this stuff going on. Ethereum should probably have their ETFs soon. How can you not be long on Ethereum?
I got a quick one.
One more. Here we go.
One more. All right. So this COPA trial that's coming up with the copyrights and everything. Do you think that's going to have any effect on the price?
So it is something that gets talked about. And just to let everybody know, Craig Wright, who I know, we've interviewed him at least once. Pretty interesting guy. We could go down. I could tell stories right and left. I do think that he was there in the beginning. So I think that no, I don't think so. Because here's the thing: what he did with BSV is great for what it's set up for, and that is to be a government and a corporate type of system that's leveraging blockchain to use. And in order to do that, you need to be able to, if you mint some title of my home on a coin, well, if something happens to that coin, I need you to mint it again. Okay? And so it has a place. It has a place, but it's different. And so I think that it'll be interesting to see what happens. But like I kind of said earlier, Bitcoin's always going to be Bitcoin. Like, it's always going to be Bitcoin. Like, look at even like years ago, people were like, "Don't get political, this and that," and then I figured out that like politics and Bitcoin are actually one and the same. We have something here that can run an entire country. We can have a consensus. We can vote. We can do all this stuff. We can make decisions. And it brought all of us together. other. So whether you voted one way or voted another way or whatever you did, we all believe in freedom. We all believe in actually owning stuff, right? And we all believe in freedom. I always forget the third one.
Guns.
Freedom, ownership, and privacy. Sorry, I can't tell you the number of times I'm on stage and I forget that. And privacy, we all agree in that. Privacy, freedom, and ownership. We all agree in that. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. Doesn't matter what Crypto Monday you're at. Where you are, we all agree on those things. And we're actually the strongest political power in the world. We just haven't figured it out yet. And that's why I'm running around the world and doing 2 shows a day and everything else, because we got to see ourselves.
Amazing. That was awesome. Everybody, give him a hand.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Great chat tonight. One more thing before everybody leaves the stage, why don't anybody who doesn't mind being doxxed, come on up here. Let's take a picture. Take a picture of the group.
Yes.
Come on up. Everybody, this is Crypto Mondays.
Yeah, you can see here.
Yeah,
It lasted,
bro.
I don't know how.
If you don't want to be doxxed, you can take a photo. How's that?
Wow, 42 people on it too. All right.
Squeeze in, right? Squeeze in. Let's go.